I never planned on doing any of this. I actually was living a pretty happy life, and I had a series of incidents that led me to the question, well, gosh, if people are changing their internal states by thought alone, what is the mechanism to allow that to happen? So when we started, when I wrote my first book, the most common question that we got is, great information, but how do you do it? We started teaching workshops, and because of the model of neuroplasticity, which means your brain physically changes from every new thing you learn, every new thought you have, every new choice you make, every new experience you embrace, every new behavior you demonstrate, every new feeling that you emotionally cultivate, there's physical changes as a result of a shift in consciousness. And the epigenetic model of reality says that we're not doomed by our genes, that one single gene can have at least 35,000 different variations. So genes make proteins, and so proteins are responsible for the structure and the function of your body and your life. So the expression of proteins is the expression of health. So we started teaching these workshops with the idea of changing the brain and the body, changing the mind as well as the body. And we put a scientific model of understanding together so that people could understand what they were doing. And when you put intention behind what you do, you get better results. So first couple years, we didn't really see much changes in people's ability. And then all of a sudden, it was like the gates broke open and we started seeing people healing themselves from all different kind of physical, emotional, mental conditions in their life, and objective tests to prove it. The brain learns by two principles, what's called the law of association. You associate, if I said neurons look like a leafless oak tree in winter, your brain would create an image, and that's how you would associate what I just said, a neuron, with new information and with old information. So we build models of understanding by association. Repetition then reinforces the circuitry in your brain, and if you do that enough times, the law of association, the law of repetition, creates a neurological network. And a neural network is just gangs of neurons that have fired and wired together to form a community of neurosynaptic connections that are related to an idea, a thought, a concept, a memory, a skill, whatever. So neural networks become the automatic programs that we unconsciously use every day. So to develop a new neural network then means that you're going to install the hardware in your brain to use so that when you walk out into your life, you have the circuitry in place to be able to get your mind and body working together. Your brain is wired to reflect everything you know in your past. Every place where one neuron connects with another neuron is called a memory. So you have trillions of connections in your brain based on the people you know, the places you've lived, the things you've done, the experiences you have, the things you own, the pets you've lived with, at different times in your life. So your brain is an artifact from the past. It's a record. So then you think about 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day. Out of those 60 to 70,000 thoughts that you think in one day, 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before. So the same thoughts lead to the same choices. The same choices create the same behaviors. The same behaviors produce the same experiences. The same experiences cultivate the same emotions. And the same emotions then drive our same thoughts. And that's called an identity. That's our personality. So then most people's personalities are built on memories from the past. So if you're thinking the same thoughts, performing the same actions, and living by the same emotions, then you're viewing your life from the past, through the lens of the past.
Right.
Now, if feelings and emotions are the end product of past experiences, and you're living by the same feelings and emotions every single day, then two things are true. Number one, nothing new is happening in your life. And number two, those feelings, if they're driving the same thoughts, then you're thinking in the past.
Right.
So then we tend to edit out reality based on the circuitry in the brain. Now, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. So then the way we think and feel creates a state of being. Then for the most part, we're viewing reality both neurologically and conditioned emotionally in the body through the past. Now, this becomes the challenge, because when a person wants to create a new future or change something about their future, their state of being is literally in the past. Now, their body is their unconscious mind, and it does not know the difference between an experience in their life that creates an emotion and an emotion that we fabricate by thought alone. So the same familiar emotion, The body's believing it's living in the same past experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now, this is really the process of change, because then we have to literally free ourselves from the chains of the past, and that creates a little discomfort. When we begin to look at those states of mind that are now conditioned in the body subconsciously, most people expect the change and the transformation to happen instantaneously, but crossing the river of change from the old self to the new self is literally the neurological, biological, genetic, chemical death of the old self. And the moment a person doesn't feel like themselves any longer, they rush around and make the same choice that leads to the same behavior, that creates the same experience, that produces the same emotion, and then they say, this feels right. Well, no, it actually feels familiar. That place in the unknown is the perfect place to create from. And so when we understand that there's a new self that biologically can be reorganized, then when we cross that river and you can't predict your future, the best way to predict it is to create it in that place of the unknown. This is fundamentally important to describe the process of change, because when you wake up in the morning and you remember yourself as yourself, there's a feeling that you look for. And the moment you get in touch with that feeling will drive a set of thoughts that will lead to a set of automatic programs, or your body goes on autopilot, and you function pretty much from that state. When you begin to become conscious of all of those elements that are deriving the old self, the thoughts, the behaviors, the emotions, and you're no longer firing and wiring the same circuits in your brain that produce the same neuropeptides, that signal the same hormones, that create the same feelings, your brain then says nerve cells that no longer fire together no longer wire together. There's a weakening of the connections that are connected to the old self, and as those neurons begin to weaken and prune apart, the memory of the old self is literally changing. If you're not signaling the body emotionally with the same chemistry, that the body's been addicted to that emotion. Now the body is craving its emotional needs just like an addict, because it's modified its receptor sites for more suffering, for more guilt, for more hostility, for more unworthiness, whatever it is. So then, as the body goes into transition, you've just stepped into the river of change. So most people, they white knuckle it in this process because they're looking for something to reaffirm their identity as the old self. So the challenge then is when you're in that void of the unknown. If you woke up every morning and you said to yourself, okay, I'm going through crossing the river of change here, and you have some clear understandings of what you're doing, then you may want to say to yourself, well, before I open my eyes today, or before I start my day, how would greatness live today? What is a future that I want to embrace? What would it emotionally feel like? Can I teach my body emotionally what it feels like to be honorable, to be passionate, to be in love with life, to be in a state of gratitude, and allow those emotions then to cause a level of auto-suggestibility to thoughts that are equal to that emotion, that begin to fire and wire new circuits in your brain, that begin to cause you to plan your behaviors. And as you begin to rehearse and practice in your mind who you're going to be when you open your eyes, you begin to fire and wire new circuits in your brain and begin to emotionally signal your body in new ways. And now you're in a new state of being, because when mind and body are working together, that's a new state of being. So most people don't believe in that future because they haven't experienced yet. But that's because they're relying on their senses to determine reality. The quantum model of reality is beyond the senses. It's an immaterial understanding that transcends the body, transcends the conditions in your environment, and transcends time. Now, we have all the biological and neurological machinery to make this happen. But when most people are going through the process of change, they're white-knuckling it, waiting for relief. But my message is, if you can unfire and unwire and uncondition your body, then why not refire and rewire, so that now as you begin to every day remind yourself of who you no longer want to be, and then remind yourself of who you do want to be, there will be biological changes in your brain and body, so they're no longer living in the past, they're now living in the future.
I hope you loved this amazing and inspiring speech by Joe Dispenza. I'm sure you'll be motivated to apply this advice to your life and find the courage to start making changes to step into your desired future. It's all about you. We are continuing with our daily practice of completing the inspiring quotes. In the previous video we were looking for 2 words of Joe Dispenza's quote. The quote goes like this: "It's true that our brain is shaped and molded by our environment. But what science is beginning to realize is that our brain is shaped and molded by our ability to..." The correct answer is pay attention. So it's true that our brain is shaped and molded by our environment, but what science is beginning to realize is that our brain is shaped and molded by our ability to pay attention. Congratulations to everyone with the correct answer. This one wasn't so easy, but since I know you love Joe Dispenza, today's quote is also from Joe Dispenza. We are looking for 2 words. So the quote goes like this: "To truly change is to think greater than..." Write your answers in the comments below the video and tell me if you love this video and our new way of ending the videos. If you like this video, give your thumbs up and share it with your friends. Even if you're not sure what the right answer is, try and guess. The first one with the correct answer is the winner. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button and don't miss any of new videos and new challenges. If you really like what we do here and want to support us, you can join our channel and our community for a symbolic fee and gain many other additional features. You can do that by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button, or you can click on the link in the description of this video. Stay good and have a great day.